This is our NBA Live segment. Again, we're going to look at three totals today on the card. Yesterday, another rough day in the NBA. But before I get to that, let's talk real quick about things you got to check out. SBRpicks.com. Definitely some good handicappers on there. We got some guys right now that are pretty hot, so you definitely want to check that out. Facebook page, YouTube channel, Sportsbook review, of course. That's where all the numbers are. Sign-up bonuses, blacklist. It's all there for you at Sportsbook review. But check out SBRpicks.com. We got some good handicappers on there. It's all free. It's all free. So for those of you who like to listen to our plays and then like to complain, just remember, it's all free. It's all free. So we are trying to do the best we can. I'm saying that specifically for myself because this last week's been pretty rough. NCAA is okay, though. Yesterday we were 2-1 in NCAA hoops, so check out that segment. We were 2-1, and the one loss we had was unfortunately went to overtime with Penn State and Indiana. That just happens sometimes. All right, but this segment's about NBA. Now, again, disclaimer, it's been a rough week. As we finish the total segment for today, we're going to go ahead and talk about some spreads as well. Share this video. Tell your friends. Jump on in. Give me some comments. Give me some feedback. So you can tell me I'm terrible. Anything you want to do, and we'll go ahead and we'll talk about that. All right, so we are live right now. And let's go ahead and let's start looking at some totals. All right, first one up we got here is the Lakers at Washington. And I look at this, probably the game I look at the longest. And I'm going over. I got it at 219. And that's a tough over for me to take because this is a really big number. But there's two things I like about two of the games tonight. And that is the fact with Washington and Houston. I'm going to talk about them in just a second. Yeah, CU and yeah, Washington and Houston, they're both back at home for their second game in a row. So I look for them to score a lot of points. And I'll talk more about that Atlanta-Houston matchup in just a second. But the Lakers, man, they play no defense. They could really allow some points. Now we're looking at Washington. We look at their last several home games. This is a team that can put up points, and they are red hot right now. I mean, they've won, 9 out of their last 10, maybe 10 out of their last 11. They've just been playing fantastic basketball. But Scott Brooks loves to get up and down the floor. I think Luke Walton, he's just going to go ahead and turn him loose tonight. Of course, they don't match up very much this first time this season. This is the biggest total we've seen from them as these two match up in maybe ever. I'd have to double check that, but I think it was the highest we've seen in the last 10 years between these two. And that's just the trend. So from now on, when I talk about that trend, I mean, who cares? It's always like that. Same thing for Atlanta, Houston. We'll talk about that in a second. Biggest total we've ever seen between these two teams, ever. It's crazy. So, but that's just the way it is this year. So we're just going to go and roll with that. And I'm going to go with the odds makers. I'm going to go and go over that 219. So, Washington again. They scored 117 points against New York. I'm talking about their home games now. Prior to that, 123 versus Boston. Prior to that, they got bogged down against Memphis, who plays really good defense. They scored just 104 points. Against Portland prior to that, 120. Then they had kind of a tough game against Philadelphia where they had their first home game after an away contest. But you look at their home numbers prior to that, they had a home game against Chicago. They got bogged down a little bit. Then Minnesota 112. I mean, you're talking about a Washington team that can really score some points. But what I like about this game is the tempo that these two teams allow. So let me go ahead and let's break that down. So right now you got Washington. They're allowing opponents 84.3 attempts per game. That ranks right in about the middle of the league. The Lakers, 86.3. That ranks outside the top half of the league. So they both allow a lot of tempo. They push tempo, both averaging over 86 attempts per game. So for me, the key is, are the Lakers going to be able to score? Randall still a question mark, but I think they're going to be able to score over 100 points, and I like Washington to score 120. So I think they're going to get there. Washington's just been playing some really good basketball. They're averaging 106.9 points per game. That ranks 10th in the NBA. But their last 10 games, they've been scoring at a really nice rate. They're 6th in the league in effective field goal percentage. But here are some really nice numbers. They're 3rd in shooting percentage, 47.7%. And 51.7% on their two-point shot. That also ranks 3rd. They're 6th in three-point shooting. I mean, they have the ability tonight to score well over 120. Can the Lakers score over 100? I think they can. They're going to run up. They're off a rest. I mean, this should really be a track meet. Unless they just hit the rim every time, this should get over the 219. So I'm going to back over this total. It's a big total, but I'm going to do it. Next one up, we got Atlanta and Houston. Again, if you guys want to chime in, I'll be sure to get back to you. We will talk about some spreads here. Not a lot of action going out there today as far as spreads because there's just 4 games, and they're all big spreads. Atlanta to Houston, 225. 225. I got to yell because that's crazy. It started out 222. And you know what's at now? 225. That's unbelievable. Some places 225 and a half. I'm going over. Forget it. I'm going over because, my goodness. First, this is a numbers play for me. Let's look at these guys head to head. Just, I know I said we weren't going to talk about that, but I just think it's fascinating. First of all, the last two times they match up. Now, we got a little different dynamic, of course, because D'Antoni's there. But they did match up earlier this year in November. 112 to 197. Oddsmakers had it at 217.5, and they went under. Prior to that, they had a 215, and they went under. So they went under their last two with 217.5, 215. Oddsmakers said, forget it, we're going to go 222. And now it's at 225. So this sets up just to be a track meet. It's Houston's second game in a row at home. I know Dwight Howard's coming back, but I don't care about that. And again, this is the biggest total we've seen between these two teams back. I got stats back to 2004. Okay, so why? Why? Well, I think we got some good reasons for it when we start to look at their stats. Atlanta, they're coming off second leg of a back-to-back. They played at Miami, who's also red hot with them in Washington, just playing great basketball. I wonder when those two play. I'm going to check that out. But Atlanta, the second leg, they got, look, Miami's a good defensive team. That's why they're winning. They're putting up some points. I had the over. That was my only NBA winner yesterday. I had the over in that one. Atlanta did not score nearly as much as I thought they would. Miami's playing some tough defense. Houston plays no defense, and they allow a ton of tempo. They're allowing opponents 87.5 attempts per game. That ranks 23rd in the NBA. Atlanta allows 87.5 attempts per game. That ranks 23rd in the NBA. So they both allow a lot of tempo, and they get up over 86 attempts per game. Well, Atlanta's just under 86, and they can score. They're both pretty efficient. Atlanta's shooting over 45% for the floor. Buds has a nice offense there. Atlanta does play some defense, which does concern me, but man, Houston, they can just put up points so quickly. I mean, they're second in the league in efficiency and effective field goal percentage. They're second in scoring behind, of course, the Warriors. But they don't play defense at all. They're allowing opponents 51% on their two-point shots. That ranks 26 in the NBA. And they rank 27th in opponent field goals made per game. So Atlanta, I think coming off the second leg of that back-to-back, this is something I've been talking about, or I've had one or two people mention about, well, how do you feel about people coming off a back-to-back? I think this is a situation where Atlanta is going to lack a little bit on the defensive end, and Houston's going to go ahead and score their normal 115, 120, something like that. But I think Atlanta, I mean, that's a pretty efficient offense right there. Those guys can score. They can shoot the three. They're not scoring at an exponential rate right now, but I like for them to go ahead and score tonight against a Houston team that just does not play defense. They just don't. That's Mike D'Antoni. I'm going to go over that 225. This is a numbers play for me because oddsmakers set this total so high. I like Atlanta playing defense, but at Houston, second leg of a back-to-back, I think the Rockets are going to be able to score. I'm going over. Okay, there's two overs. Last one I'm going under, and this one bugs me because I don't like the way the line's moving. Let me tell you what I'm talking about. Start out 209.5. We're talking about Philadelphia and San Antonio. It's now jumped to 214. I don't care. I'm going under. And I'm going to tell you why I'm going under because, it's kind of the same situation where San Antonio gets to be at home again. I love how they played defense the other night versus OKC. I thought they did an excellent job. But OKC can also really struggle from the perimeter or, outside the perimeter. They're a horrible three-point shooting team. Okay, all that being said, these are two teams that can play some defense. Now, of course, Embiid's not there. But you look at these defensive numbers. I mean, offensively, Philadelphia is averaging just over 100 points per game. San Antonio, 107.5. The Spurs can score. That's a really efficient team. They're second in the league right now in shooting percentage. But Philadelphia, they're doing a nice job this year. Brown knows Popovich. He's a kind of a protege of his, so they know each other real well. When we look at their head-to-head battles, this is actually a really high total for Philadelphia and San Antonio, but it's a completely different dynamic this year. Philadelphia is actually semi-okay. But defensively, they're playing the best defense they've played in the last 5 years. I mean, right now, opponents are just shooting 49.3% on their two-point shots. That ranks 11th in the NBA. They rank right in the middle, 12th and 14th in opponent effective field goal percentage and shooting efficiency. Opponents are averaging 106.1 points per game. That's not that great. So San Antonio is probably going to score about 110. But I just don't see Philadelphia scoring a lot. That's where this gets me. I think San Antonio has finally made a decision to go ahead and start playing some defense. They know that's going to get them to the promised land. Whether they can beat Golden State or not, that's a whole other story. They can beat Houston. They're allowing 99.2 points per game. They're ranking second in the NBA. And they're allowing opponents just 37 field goals made per game. That ranks fourth. Across the board, awesome defensive statistics. And then I don't know if you have noticed it like I have. Over the past 6 weeks, it's consistently started to get better. Their defensive statistics. That's a really good San Antonio defense, as we should expect. Philadelphia can really struggle scoring. They only shoot 44% from the floor. That ranks 26th in the NBA. So I think they're going to struggle tonight. If San Antonio starts to ratchet things up like they did against OKC, this should stay under. So I'm going back under the total. All that being said, I've really struggled this last week. Have not been good at all. That's the way it goes sometimes. Usually throughout the season, there's gonna be 1 or 2 months where we're in the negative. That's just the way it is. But the other months are gonna be positive. That's just the way it goes. That might be this month. January, I'd have to double check. I do think, although we ended up January really bad, we started January really hot. So we might have ended up with a positive. I have my statistics back in Japan. I'm going to go out and run over those as soon as I get off the plane. My NCAA stats I actually have with me, and I've kept those up to date. But overall, the last time I checked a week ago, we were 145 and 30 on our NBA totals. So right now we're probably hovering just above 500, which is not good. We've got to do better than that. And just real quick, I got to mention something. I usually don't check. I check comments here. Sometimes I'll check the comments out on our YouTube channel because I just want to see what guys have to say. I don't always do it. Sometimes I do. Like all of you out there, I'm a really busy guy. But it's fun to get involved and, get feedback and stuff like that. But some comments the other night were about, like we're trying to lose. So I don't know. That's ludicrous. I'm not trying to lose. I play all of these. I'm a handicapper. That's what I do. This is my job. I also have a lot of spread picks that I'll talk about right now, but you won't know all of them because a lot of them I won't do until maybe 30 minutes before the game goes off. So this is what I do. But that's okay. Just to let you guys know, but I'm actually trying really hard to give you value and give you good plays, good picks, because otherwise I wouldn't have any integrity. Now, the fact that I'm losing, that just makes me bad. It doesn't make me a liar. Okay, so let's get that straight. I'm really trying my best here. So if you want to fade me and you profit, I'm telling you, man, I'm happy for you. I really am. I want you guys to profit somehow from these videos. Hopefully it's because I'm right. All right, off my soapbox. Let's talk about some spreads. All right, here we go. Well, first let's talk about some comments. Take all the favorites against the spread? No. Golden State Clippers under the 228. I don't know. I looked at that one for a while. If there's any game I like tonight, as crazy as it sounds, I like the Clippers because that line looks a little bit off after they just got absolutely blown out. I think they play their guts out tonight and they give Golden State all they want. I really do, even with the fact that they're thin. I think they're going to just play a fantastic game. The breakdowns do help. So, I like getting out the statistics, and then you might see something I don't. And then if you go the other way, or you see it, something that matches up with maybe another play, or maybe we're both on the same page, that's all. That's what the segment's about. It really is. But at the end of the season, we are going to be in the profit. I have to do it. Okay, NCAA, we're gonna kill it. We're gonna kill it, and we're doing really well in NCAA. Okay, let's talk. Okay, so spread picks. Actually, this is gonna be really short and sweet. There's two I like. I like Atlanta plus the points, just because I think they're gonna be able to score a lot versus Houston. I think they're gonna be able to stay within the number, and that was a bad game they played against Miami. I think they bounced back because that Miami team is hot. So I'm gonna go ahead and back Atlanta tonight, getting the points, and I'm gonna back the Clippers, getting the points. I'm not sure if there's any injury reports on Golden State, but that line doesn't look right to me. That's why I'm taking the points. And I'll double check all that injury stuff in just a second. And there's still a long ways until that game starts. But those are two I like just offhand. I haven't really dug into those today as I have the totals. Okay, let's see. College spread lanes. Yeah, there's actually a couple college games I like. So I have a total segment out there on college. Check that out. That's been going well. We're hitting about 54, 55%, maybe 54%. That's profit, man. We love that. So let's continue to do well in that segment. I do have that out there. You want to check that out. But as far as the spreads, there was one game I liked particularly. I was looking at a lot of games earlier. And give me 1 second, and I'll tell you which one it was. It was not that one. Where's it at? Give me 1 second here while I go ahead. I kind of like Northeastern getting the points, just a little bit, because that's a good Northeastern team. Kind of like Citadel getting the points. They already beat Wolford once this season in a really high-scoring game. But there was one game in particular that okay, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and check my sportsbook. Because you have to understand, I'm looking at like 20, 30 games and breaking them down. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to give you all my spread picks today for NCAA. How about that? All right. So I'm going to my Sportsbook, and I'm going to go ahead and tell you. I already put these in. I locked them in this morning. I like Murray State plus the points, Northeastern plus the points, the Citadel plus the points, and Niagara plus the points. There you go. They're my NCAA picks. That's straight from my Sportsbook to you. Okay? And that's it. So you guys have any more feedback, any more comments? We're going to go ahead and we're going to move on. But I'm glad you guys chimed in. It's always great to talk with you guys as we can do this. And yeah, handicapping is hard. So, for guys that want to go ahead and make negative comments and stuff, that's okay. That's just the way it goes sometimes. But a lot of you guys understand, how difficult this can be. So I really appreciate your time. I appreciate you guys, tuning in and just taking the time to as we can discuss some games. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to sign off. So let's break that down one more time. We got the Lakers, Washington. We're going to go over the 219. We got Atlanta and Houston over the 225. And we got Philadelphia, San Antonio under the 214. And these numbers are starting to get really crazy this year. So, enjoy the games. Check out sbrpicks.com. That is just an awesome website. Sportsbook review, Facebook page, YouTube channel. It's all free. Yeah, hey, best of luck to you, Daniel. And you guys have a great day. And I wish you luck, as always, on your picks today.
Research before you bet. Be sure to check out SBR Picks for the best game predictions, breakdowns, and much, much more.